I'm annoyed. I don't know how else to put it. I'm very, very annoyed. Colorado is a state that is testing my patience. A few months ago, the mayor of Denver decided to push flock surveillance cameras down everybody's throat, even though they voted 12-0 against it. How does he do it even though they voted 12-0 against it? Well, city council approval is required for contracts over $500,000. So he decided to renegotiate the contract to be $495,500. $1,500 under the limit. Imagine that. Now, you may think he'd get in trouble for that if you reported him to the district attorney, and he didn't. His wife is the deputy district attorney. So he's not getting handcuffed anytime soon, at least not in the way that I'd like. Next, age attestation. Recently, there are a lot of operating systems and programs and things have been saying, show your ID for age verification. This is not age verification, it's age attestation. So it's completely useless. It essentially gets people used to the idea of verifying their age or saying what their age is when they log into their computer upon installing an operating system. This does not say show an ID. It simply says you need to ask the user for their age if you have a computer with an operating system. And I went over why I thought this bill was a horrible idea here. Yet another thing that just came out of Colorado recently. The most recent one is the butchering of the right to repair bills that were passed over the past several years. I have talked in the past about Colorado on this channel and how right to repair bills have been passed in the state of Colorado. Unfortunately, there was a rollback that was attempted recently. I went over that in this video. Cisco is destroying right to repair in the sneakiest way possible. I say Cisco because they appear to be the ones that's spending the most money on this bill. I'm going to be going over some items from this page on Consumer Rights Wiki. Colorado SB 26090, critical infrastructure exemption. And I'd really appreciate if all of you, especially those type of people that really like to dig into government websites and open data and FOIA type of stuff, can dig through this and tell me if I got anything wrong. Tell me if I'm missing something, if there is a piece of the puzzle that I have gotten incorrect on how this entire lobbying system works, on how the bill was introduced and everything else. I could use your input. And I'm going to include a link to this so that you can all follow along if you'd like to. What this bill is, Senate Bill 26090, it says that they want to exempt critical infrastructure from the bill. And that sounds normal on its face, right? Critical infrastructure. Lewis should not be the one that is repairing the Secret Service's weaponry or some shit. I get it, whatever. But that's not what this is about. This lets anybody say what critical infrastructure is. The manufacturer gets to say what critical infrastructure is. So if the manufacturer of this piece of shit MSI laptop says this piece of shit MSI laptop was designed for use at the Pentagon, and I saw somebody at the FBI using it, so it's critical infrastructure, now they get a loophole out of the bill, and they can just say, we're not going to provide you with a battery or anything else if you want to fix this because, critical infrastructure. The definition of critical infrastructure, and this is horrible, and more importantly, the company that's pushing it is a company that is literally known for making devices that kill themselves, as I talk about in this video. They make devices that kill themselves. And the thing that gets me is that this actually moved forward 5-0. So I'm going to play you some of the testimony that the sponsors of this piece of shit gave. I'm going to play you what I had to say in response, and then I'm just going to talk about why this pisses me off.
2 sessions ago, this body took meaningful action to help Colorado consumers in House Bill 24-1121. This made Colorado one of the most robust right-to-repair states in the country. It clearly stated if you own a device, you have a right to repair it. Manufacturers must make available the tools, software, and documentation to fix what you already own, whether it's your cell phone, your laptop, or maybe your television. It took on parts repairing, empowered independent repair shops, kept money in consumers' pockets, and kept electronic waste out of our landfills. That law was a win, in my opinion, and it will take effect. It was scheduled to take effect in January here of this year. I think the Attorney General's office has indicated they're holding off on some of the provisions, which may well be the topic of this piece of legislation. And I want to make it clear that this bill, Senate Bill 90, is not a retreat from that victory, from that legislation. It's a narrow, targeted clarification that the broad consumer protections in our right to repair law are not designed to extend to systems that, if compromised, could pose a threat to public safety, national security, or our national economy. We're talking about power grids, water systems, financial networks, the kind of infrastructures whose incapacity, as federal law defines it, would have a debilitating effect on the nation. The federal definition we are adopting here is well established and carefully bounded. This is not a loophole. It is a common sense recognition that the repair of a consumer's iPhone, for example, is a lot different than the repair of equipment managing a municipal water system. For example, these are fundamentally different situations that require different standards and rules. And I want to note that when Governor Polis signed House Bill 241121, when he signed it into law, he issued a directive in his signing statement that the law should be fixed before its implementation date of January 1, 2026. He noted that Colorado is the only state in the nation that requires devices used for critical infrastructure to be included in their repair law. So we're running this bill to fix a critical mistake made in the original law and protect our devices from malicious attacks. I do not want Colorado to be the entry point of nefarious cyber attacks. So I think we're aligned with the governor on that point here in Colorado. And
so the first thing that bothers me here is he's saying, look, even the governor said that you had to edit this bill because it has this gaping hole in it. Look at what he said in his signing statement. All right, let's look at what it actually said in his signing statement. Protecting our right to repair our own broken equipment will save money, strengthen small businesses, and reduce technology waste. Today, we are building on our work to protect Coloradans' right to repair to ensure manufacturers cannot force Coloradans to pay extreme repair costs, said Governor Polis. Supporting our creative industries like film will strengthen our local economy, enhance tourism, and there's nothing in here about the critical infrastructure exemption. There's nothing. Try Googling it. Yahoo, Bing, Brave Search, Alta Vista. Doesn't exist. The governor never said that. He made it up because it sounds good, because it makes it sound like you should really listen to this. And if you don't listen to this, I'm going to get you in trouble with the governor. No, you're not. He never said that. You made it up. It gets better, though. Cisco's in-house lobbyist, Joseph Lee, registered on February 10th, which is the same day that the bill was introduced. IBM's 8 HP strategist lobbyists registered the next morning. A lobbyist can't file a position on a bill that hasn't been introduced. Same day and next day registrations from two separate companies indicate that both had advanced knowledge of the bill before it was publicly filed. How are you filing in favor of a bill on the same day, unless you were the one who was pushing for it and you were the one who wrote it? Cisco came up with this. Cisco raised its lobbyist retainer from $6,500 a month to $7,500 a month the month before this bill was introduced. The bill's lobbying network spent over $362,000 on lobbyists. The 5 opposing organizations spent $0. Lobbyists donated $15,725 to the bill's sponsors and committee members. 6 lobbyists from the 2 firms donated $1,850 to one senator within 48 hours. Cisco's lobbyists donated $450 to the co-sponsor Snyder 53 days before Snyder introduced the bill. The committee chair got $3,800 from Cisco's lobbying firm and voted yes. IBM's lobbyists in the bill show 0 payments from IBM. The money was laundered through a subcontract from HP Strategies. And all of this is all over here. If any of you want to find this information on the state's website, I include screenshots to make it easy for you. If you want to use their API for open data, I even give you the queries that you want and the citations. I've tried to put all the information here for you so you could see it right up front. Another great thing about Colorado, a bill to ban lobbyist donations to legislators was killed 12 months earlier by a different committee. Colorado's disclosure system is quite fragmented. It's difficult to look through all these databases. A citizen can't just show up and check SP 26090 to see exactly how much money was spent on this bill without going through the clusterfuck that I did to make all of this stuff at 1 in the morning. The committee voted 5-0 to advance the bill despite unanimous opposition from every repair advocate who testified. Yeah, my name is Louis Rossman. I started a repair shop about 17 years ago in a park by myself, and over time we grew to a 16-person business. Today I'm down to about 4 employees, and my business has pivoted mostly to data recovery because of the declining repairability of modern devices that makes basic repair economically unviable. I've been a right to repair advocate for a long time, and while I'm thrilled with the progress that states like Colorado have made, the reality is that a lot of these laws are constantly undermined by loopholes that allow companies to maliciously comply. And I want to give you a quick example. Samsung released a PR statement praising some of their new repair programs, but on their link site is a $220 battery for a 5-year-old smartphone. The safety loophole allows them to glue a $5 battery to a $215 screen and call it an assembly, which forces customers to pay $200 for a battery. They technically complied with the letter of the law, but they completely violated spirit. And that brings us to this bill. This bill seeks to exempt information technology equipment intended for use in critical infrastructure. And on its face, that sounds entirely rational. I'm a motherboard repair technician, so I have no business repairing a bridge that an 18-wheeler truck drives over. But that's not what this bill is actually doing. It relies on a broad, vague definition that allows the manufacturer themselves to self-designate whether their equipment is for critical infrastructure. So if a laptop manufacturer knows the Pentagon buys their laptops, they can declare that line exempt. If a networking company sells a $20 switch to a federal building, they can claim that hardware is critical infrastructure. It's a blanket blank check for manufacturers to exempt themselves. And I think that we need to look at who's heavily lobbying for this language. Cisco is one of them. Let's examine their track record. Somebody before mentioned wireless access points in OpenWRT. When Cisco's Meraki MR33 wireless access point reached its end of life, developers figured out how to install open source firmware called OpenWRT so the hardware could continue functioning securely with robust security updates. In response, Cisco pushed out a silent mandatory firmware update to every single one of these devices that would cause the CPU to permanently brick itself if you tried to install the updated firmware. They sent out a suicide update to destroy perfectly good hardware rather than let people update it to secure firmware. If an administrator tries to install security updates to their networking devices, Cisco kills it. Cisco actively works against the repair and security of their own devices. This does not incentivize best practices for cybersecurity, and if they cared about security of critical infrastructure, they would not force people to use outdated, insecure firmware on their access points. These are companies asking for a loophole, and in my opinion, they don't operate in good faith. What's frustrating is seeing lobbyists and retired officials brought in to support these exemptions under the guise of security, while Dan Driscoll and John Phelan, Secretary of the Army and Navy, both went on record during Senate Armed Service Committee hearings strongly supporting military right to repair using very similar language to the bill that was passed in Colorado. They're begging Congress for the right to repair. This bill isn't about protecting power grids. It's about protecting the monopoly revenue of companies like Cisco at the expense of American taxpayers, small businesses, and workers. It leads to the descaling of our economy when less people know how to... I'd ask you to vote no on the bill.
Mr. Rossman, you started to talk about the problems you see with the definition in Senate Bill 90, and I wanted to get your opinion if there is language that you think would strike at what is the proposed concern that is trying to be solved for, but would address your concerns as well.
In my opinion, I think that the concern is coming from a place of bad faith to begin with. So I don't really know how to do that because from what my viewpoint, the primary company that's pushing this is a company that essentially bricks their devices and makes it impossible for you to actually install security updates on equipment that is used in critical infrastructure. I think that the entire purpose of it was to make it seem like this is a very reasonable concern, to present a Trojan horse to be able to have a blind exemptions. I don't really know how the language could be changed in order to suit that. What do they do at the end of it? Did they listen to the people? The over 20 people that showed up to say this is a really, really bad idea.
I move Senate Bill 114 as amended to the Committee on Appropriations.
That is a proper motion. Ms. Jensen, will you please poll the committee members?
Senators Catlin,
Aye.
Liston,
Aye.
Snyder,
Aye.
Marchman,
Aye.
Henriksen.
Aye. That passes on a vote of 5-0. There is no further business before us today. The Business, Labor, and Technology Committee is adjourned.
No. 5-0 in favor of this piece of shit exemption that shits on everything that we've worked on for the past 2 years. Here's what pisses me off the most about all this. It's just on a personal level, not even like an activist level or anything like that, or business level. It's just like manufacturers, you won. Listen to what Andy says in the Salem Techsperts YouTube channel, what he talks about on how the repair industry has changed. I still have to go to VenaFix or these random FTP servers to get schematics and stuff because I can't just buy them from the manufacturer and they're not provided with the product to the owner. A lot of the chips, screens, parts that I used to be able to buy, I can't. As I said in my testimony, my company has pivoted to doing data recovery. There's a lot of repair jobs that I just don't do anymore because I can't do those old repair jobs I could in the same economically viable way. And if I don't feel like I'm the best deal or a good deal for somebody, I just don't want to do the job. You want. It's not enough that you could fit a fucking Cisco rack of equipment through the Swiss cheese of holes in all the right to repair laws around the country. You have to take the corpse of right to repair and shit on it. Because like I've heard people say, well, Minnesota has this carve-out. Yeah, Minnesota's bill also fucking excludes game consoles. I mean, these laws have so many carve-outs as it is, but that's not enough. You have to take the laws that have all these carve-outs already and just find new and innovative ways to shit on them. Here's what I'm going to ask of all of you. If you're in the state of Colorado and you care about these things, figure out who your state senator is, contact them and tell them, this ain't it. I'm not voting for you next election. I don't even care who your opponent is. I'm voting for the opposite if you decide to move forward on SB 26090. It's not even about the text of the bill. It's just about the idea that Cisco can show up, a company that has literally sent out firmware updates to their routers that cause them to kill themselves if you flash open source firmware that actually gets security updates is going to show up to the legislature and try to destroy right to repair by saying this is bad for security. The gall that you could just show up and spend $300,000 in lobbying over a few months, write your law, and just get it pushed through based on complete bullshit. They're misquoting the fucking governor. And they don't care. And they got like 5-0. It worked. Do me a favor. Show them that it didn't work. This law is not passed yet. There is time. It's not even, again, about the right to repair. It's about the fucking principle of the matter. There have to be consequences for something. If not the mayor, just fucking over the entire city council. If not the people that want age verification, attestation in your fucking operating system. Maybe at the very least, just don't let Cisco buy a law. Set that precedent. I sound a little pissed off right now because I am a little pissed off right now. A lot of people put a lot of work into this. And it really didn't get us what we were looking for. And I could live with that if it wasn't for Cisco showing up, lying, bullshitting, and fucking shitting on the corpse of the work that we already did. Like, no, fuck that. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're in the state of Colorado and you're open emailing, calling, showing up at your senator's office, and telling them what you think of this, I highly appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.